A baby who feared every stranger suddenly stretched her arms toward the coldest billionaire in the mansion, and no one understood why. Jessica had been working as a maid in the millionaire Christopher Bennett's mansion for only 3 weeks. But in that short time, everyone in the house had learned one thing about her 9-month-old daughter, Sophie. She wouldn't let anyone hold her. Not the other maids, not the chef, not even Jessica's closest co-worker. The baby remained glued to her mother, trembling or crying whenever someone unfamiliar approached. No one knew why except Jessica. After fleeing an abusive home and hiding the truth of her past, Jessica had learned to live in fear. That fear had seeped into her daughter's tiny heart, turning her into a child wary of every face except her mother's. The mansion was silent that morning as Christopher, cold, focused, intimidating, sat in his study, signing contracts worth millions. His staff walked carefully past his door, always avoiding disturbing him. But destiny didn't care about boundaries. When Jessica rushed across the hall to grab the laundry she'd forgotten, Sophie slipped from her arms and toddled straight into the study. Jessica's heart exploded with panic. The baby never went near strangers, especially not a man whose presence was enough to silence a room. But before Jessica even reached the doorway, she froze. There in the center of the study stood Christopher Bennett, the feared CEO, looking down at the tiny girl now standing beside his chair. And Sophie didn't cry. She didn't tremble. Instead, she stretched her small arms toward him. Jessica's jaw dropped. Christopher blinked, confused. "She wants me to pick her up," he muttered. Jessica stuttered. I don't know, sir. She never goes to anyone." But the baby reached again, whining softly, demanding his arms. Christopher slowly lifted her, expecting screams. Instead, she placed her little head on his shoulder and sighed as if she had found a place she'd always known. Jessica felt her throat tighten. Why him? Why the one person she feared would fire her if she caused even the slightest inconvenience? Christopher stood awkwardly, unsure how to hold a baby, but Sophie clung to him with complete trust. The staff who witnessed it gasped. Everyone knew the baby avoided all humans except her mother, like a frightened kitten hiding behind its only protector. Christopher gently sat down with Sophie still in his arms. The baby began playing with his tie, giggling. "Well," he whispered, "aren't you brave?" For the first time in months, Jessica saw her daughter laugh with someone else. Tears stung her eyes. Christopher noticed. "Has she always been like this?" he asked softly. Jessica hesitated. Sharing personal things wasn't something she did. She's scared of people, she finally said. "We've been through things." She hoped he wouldn't ask more, but Christopher's expression shifted. Something in the baby's fragile trust had struck him. "She must feel safe with you," he said, though his eyes lingered on Sophie, as if wondering why he, a stranger, could calm her. Days passed, and Sophie's attachment to Christopher grew stronger. Whenever Jessica passed by the study, the baby leaned toward the door as if wanting to see him. One afternoon, when Jessica was cleaning the main hall, Sophie stretched her arms and pointed insistently toward Christopher's office. "She wants to see him," Christopher said from behind, surprising Jessica. He had come out with a warm, hesitant smile, the kind she had never seen on him. She apologized for disturbing him, but he shook his head. "Let her come," he said, lowering himself so Sophie could crawl into his lap. The staff whispered in disbelief. The cold CEO who trusted no one was letting a maid's baby play with his expensive watch, tug his hair, babble in his ear, and cling to him as if he were a father. But the real storm arrived when Christopher called Jessica to his study one evening. She panicked, assuming she was being fired. He gestured for her to sit. "Jessica, I know fear when I see it," he said quietly. "And I see it in you." Her hands trembled. No one had ever spoken to her that gently. Christopher continued, "Whatever you ran from, you're safe here. You don't have to be afraid anymore." Jessica broke. She had hidden her pain for so long that the release felt like drowning and breathing at the same time. Through tears, she told him everything about the men who had hurt her, who threatened to take her baby, who still searched for her. She expected Christopher to recoil, to dismiss her, to tell her she brought trouble. Instead, he stood, walked to the window, and said in a firm, controlled voice, "No one will ever touch you or your daughter again." Jessica stared at him, stunned. He wasn't angry. He was protective. He made phone calls she didn't understand, spoke to people she'd never heard of. And by the next day, legal protection, housing support, and security arrangements were placed. All for her. All because her frightened baby had trusted him before anyone else. "Why are you doing this?" Jessica whispered. Christopher looked down at the little girl holding his finger. "Because she reminds me of someone I lost," he said softly. "Someone I couldn't protect in time." Jessica saw a deep pain in his eyes, the kind that shapes a person forever. Sophie began to fuss until Christopher picked her up again. She instantly calmed, resting her cheek against his chest. "She chose you," Jessica said emotionally. "Maybe she sees the good in you, the part no one could see at first." Christopher smiled slightly. "She sees what I forgot I had." From that day forward, Christopher wasn't just the CEO. He slowly became a guardian, a supporter, and a silent hero in Jessica and Sophie's life. And Sophie, the baby who once feared the world, found comfort only in two people: her mother and the millionaire whose heart she healed without saying a single word. And as this emotional journey continues, dear viewers, if you love powerful, life-changing stories like this one, make sure to subscribe. Your support helps us bring more heart-touching tales to life.